Hey, I'm Steve Magnante here at High-Octane Classics in Auburn, Massachusetts with something very special. 1969 Plymouth GTX Convertible. Now in 69, a total of 15,010 GTXs were built, but only 625 were built as convertibles. A very unusual body style. The thing about the GTX was that it came standard with a 440 with 375 horsepower, 480 foot-pounds of torque. And basically, it was the biggest muscular engine you get in a GTX. Of course, the Hemi was available too, but it was only 426 cubes. With that said, though, the GTX that was known as the GT Exterminator, as in Fairlane GT, Pontiac GTO, GTX would exterminate those smaller engined vehicles pretty handily. These are very potent cars on this three-door strip. This one has B5 blue, a very desirable paint code, and it's the original paint code to this car. It's not been resprayed a different color, and nicely restored. No rust on this one, rust-free example of the breed. Has the optional in 69 styled steel wheels. Standard wheels would have been a hubcap and a chrome, a painted rim, if you will, but these are extra 40, or I think $58 or so for the 5-spoke wheels. Has the optional power disc brakes up front. Drums were standard. You paid a little extra to get the disc brakes. And of course, the GTX came standard with this styled hood. Does not have the air grabber. These would be sort of orange and meshed, but again, it looks the part, and the standard fare on Roadrunner and GTX. It has the AM/FM thumb wheel stereo. We'll get to that in a moment. And let's pop the hood on this mighty GTX. Of course, up front, GTX logo in the center of the grille right there to warn people that there's a serious 440 cubic inch motor under that hood, and whatever you're driving, you better have a bigger motor or get ready to be left behind. Yeah, correctly restored. The exhaust manifolds are the standard high-performance Magnum or Super Commando style. They're cast iron, and that's a nice thing. Tube steel headers are okay, but they can tend to leak and warp, but these are pretty much bulletproof. Full-length dual exhaust, of course. And here's the brake booster for the front power disc brakes, an optional feature. But this is also an air-conditioned car. That's pretty unusual, but a $600 option on top of the otherwise fairly expensive convertible. All that stuff is factory equipment right there. The condenser, compressor, all the items are factory stock items. Nice restoration under the hood. Here's the trim tag right here in B5 blue. There it is right, B5, you should see, I think it's upside down, but there is B5 blue. You'll see that that was screwed down upside down, B5 right there. That is the code for this medium metallic blue paint. Let's go around to the front and see our inside and see what we can find inside. And it could be had with a 4-speed transmission, or what we see here, the Torque Flight automatic. With a console, you could also get a steering column shift if you wanted, but this does have the console with the wood grain in the center. And there's the button in the shifter right there for the 727 high upshift Torque Flight automatic transmission. This has the optional wood look steering wheel with the aluminum brushed spokes. And the speedometer goes to 15, in other words, 150. I guess the numbers were too large to fit in the horizontal layout right there. So 115 is actually 150 speedo. If this was a Roadrunner, it would have a 120 mile per hour speedometer. So the GTX got the big dog 150 speedo, in keeping with its big dog 440 cubic inch engine. Of course, 8 3/4 rear axle on this, probably a 3:23 ratio. I like how this one does have the accent paint down low here. Standard fare on GTX. You have the car lower silhouette, sort of a semi-matte finish right there on the bottoms of the front fenders, doors, and quarter panels. Kind of nice. And rust-free quarters. No rust at all metal. Beautiful. It's uncommon to find a convertible that doesn't have some degree of rust or rust repair. Not here. Clean car. Let's pop the trunk. And by the way, at the back here, here's the die-cast GTX specific trunk width decor panel right there. Beautiful. No pitting on that. And of course, the chrome exhaust tips right here. Standard stuff on GTX. And let's pop that trunk. Yeah, correctly presented inside. The B5 blue sprayed properly under the deck lid and on all vertical surfaces. And the trunk floor, beautiful in this, no rust repair at all. Just very pristine. You can see right there, just beautiful B5 blue paint, virginal sheet metal. Beautiful car. And a great example of the breed. And again, only 625 of these cars were built as GTX convertibles back in 1969. So if you wanted the biggest big block muscle car with AC, and top-down front, you wanted a 440 GTX. To learn more about this car, go to the High-Octane Classics website.